So, Disney's 2025 live action remake of Snow White has been a roller coaster ride. That was the first thing I wrote in my notes. It's an absolute roller coaster ride. There's lots of controversy surrounding it, and we're going to dissect each and we're going to kind of go through little by little. Granted, I kind of clustered some of them because there's just so many drama, from the casting drama to the behind the scenes drama. I'm going to break it all down with you here today. Now, the biggest one has to be the casting drama. So, casted as Snow White is Rachel Zegler. Now, Rachel Zegler is a Latina actress who is stepping into a role that is traditionally associated with whiteness, okay? Online trolls, pundits, people with an opinion immediately went after this choice. I think this was the first major choice that they wanted to attack, is who was casted for the show. As a result, it sparked an online debate and hashtags like Snow Woke, Snow White isn't white, and all these different things. However, despite the backlash, Disney and studio execs proudly went along with this. They defended their choice for the casting. They argued that Zegler's voice and screen presence was just exactly what they were looking for to modernize the story. They didn't see her ethnicity as a negative. Actually, they saw it as, you know what, this is perfectly fine. Why can't she play Snow White? So they went along and decided, we're going to work with this actress. We're not going to make changes just because she's a Latina. She's fit for the role. She embodies it well. And they think she'd do a good job at doing this remake for this classic tale. So that is the first major negative things folks are saying about Snow White. The next big thing that I think is worth mentioning is, of course, the 7 dwarves. Now, I have the 7 dwarves on screen, and these are CGI dwarves, okay? So here's the thing. In Disney's original animated film, right, the 7 dwarves, they were, drawn. They were drawn. We had the remake. However, for this new one, for 2025, there was lots of online scrutiny because, first of all, so this is the first thing. You have to get the backstory. I tried to find a picture of the bandits online from the Snow White movie, the 2025. I couldn't find anything that I could share with you here today. But what you need to know is there was a leak on set that emerged showing like these groups of bandits instead of the traditional dwarves. Now, people thought, oh my gosh, is this what they're going to do to replace the dwarves? Instead, Disney was very going about it in a roundabout way. What we found out is that most of the dwarves would be CGI, and then Disney was adding a group of bandits. So we have our 7 dwarves who are CGI dwarves, but also added to the story is a group of bandits, and they're also a group of 7. So that is also another dilemma. Now, here's the thing. Fans and folks from the dwarfism community were outraged. They were actually accusing Disney of just completely erasing them, erasing their identity, and just dehumanizing dwarf people, because we do have dwarf people. They are a whole community. There were folks, I forgot the actor's name, who was saying, I was a maid to play Dopey, So there were folks in the dwarf community who was like, hey, cast to me. Because also it is very hard for folks in the dwarf community to get casted and to get work. So there was a lot of outrage as it relates to the dwarfs and them going in a CGI direction. Now, Disney scrambled, of course. They had to put out a statement, and they were saying that they actually hired dwarfs as consultants. So they hired folks from the dwarf community as consultants, and that the bandits were a separate group. Because like I said, there were pictures of the bandits that were leaked, and people were thinking, oh my gosh, are they completely taking away the 7 dwarfs and giving us this? Anyway, they tried to assure us that the CGI dwarfs would be respectfully rendered, but I have to say the controversy just still raged online, fueling lots of negative reviews and heated debates. So that was another big controversy surrounding the remake of 2025 Snow White. Another controversy, which now what you're seeing on the picture is an improvement. Believe it or not, the wig and just the visual vibes was a whole thing online. So Rachel Zegler's hairstyle, so Rachel Zegler playing Snow White, it became an instant meme. Okay. Critics, fans, just everyone was saying her hair looks like a helmet kind of vibe and it looks very cartoonish and it is actually feeding into outdated stereotypes and just compromising the overall film's aesthetic and wanting to be modern. So, what did Disney do? They did some digital fixes to try and balance something more modern, but again, to give us the nostalgic vibes. So let me go back and show you 1937 Snow White. So that is 1937 Snow White with the hair, okay? And then this is a modern remake of Snow White with the hair. So there you have it. But believe it or not, the wig was a meme. Now, another controversy is the production pitfalls. Now, there was lots of drama, okay, happening on screen, production, and off stage. It was a lot. So it's very important to know that production wasn't smooth sailing. It was, during the time of the pandemic, outbreaks, force safety protocols. It added so much more money to the budget. They even had a fire on set. They had soundstage problems. It's just a lot of things that were happening. We also had the 2023 actors strike that hit, which halted reshooting. There is also lots of things people were saying as it relates to Rachel Zegler being cast as Snow White. We had the evil queen, Gal Gadot, be having some health problems as well. So there was just a lot of things happening that delayed the work. So, of course, this forced Disney to scramble and trying to pull things together, even though they were already over budget. Now, folks were saying this would make the movie go to streaming. But again, Disney has proceeded with a theatrical release. And again, I watched the movie on Friday and I shared my review. So if you're just joining the live, just hit rewind. If you're watching the replay, you've probably heard it already, or you can watch a dedicated video because I will be posting my review separately. So that was just some of the production pitfalls, but wait for it. The social media pitfalls were absolutely the worst. So some of the social media pitfalls involved or Snow White character, Rachel Zegler. Now, Rachel Zegler was very outspoken on social media, and as a result, it played a huge role in a lot of the controversy surrounding the movie. Now, she had shared the trailer on X, formerly Twitter. She had made some political statements on her platform. She shared the trailer, and then she also said, "And always remember free Palestine." Now, again, this is her opinion. But she did so when she shared the trailer. And unfortunately, that ignited a firestorm of just people being very divided. They're saying, why are you bringing politics into this? Like, this should be a movie. Here's the thing. Art is inherently political. I know a lot of people don't agree with it, but look, it's facts. Art is inherently political. The movie itself has political themes and tones, which is something I shared in my review. But again, art is political. But anyway, it railed up folks online. It was very divisive. It polarized audiences. It did. It also sparked a rift with her co-star, the evil queen, Gal Gadot. I think that's how her name is said. It also led to calls from pundits saying that she needs to be replaced. We can't have this Snow White, Rachel Zegler playing Snow White. They wanted her replaced. And of course, she came out with an apology. However, the apology really didn't do much to quell the outrage. So yeah, it's been a lot. And again, having the two main characters, the evil queen and Snow White, just, essentially creating a rift between them, that just was not the move, unfortunately. And here we go. This is where we have now a conversation on how a person's personal views, because here's the thing, everyone should be entitled to their own personal view, But when you share it during, the lead up to the movie release, or even when you're on press, it can really overshadow the film's reception. So this is where we have questions on where is the line between personal and professional. And as we evolve as a society, we're recognizing that line is becoming more and more non-existent. And, to some degree for good reason, but also, again, how can we have our work life and our personal life separate? That was a big question that was coming out as a result of this. And now it's the Monday after opening. So, like I said, someone said on my TikTok, this is going to flop. So here we are, the box office. Now, I tried to get some numbers on the box office before I came here live, but needless to say, this probably won't be a big box office hit. It's actually been very slow from what I've been seeing and hearing. Again, I don't have official numbers. I don't know, but folks are being very cautious about ticket sales. They are saying they're planning for lower than Disney's usual mark for ticket sales when it comes to remakes. And they're saying it has a lot to do with all the controversies, the behind the scenes chaos, and just everything that is leaving folks very hesitant to actually go out and watch Snow White. But if you're watching live, let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're watching the replay crew, I'd love to hear from you as well. I mean, what do you think now that you know most, because this isn't all, but most of the controversies surrounding Snow White? Are you planning to watch Snow White 2025? What are your thoughts and feelings? Again, I'd love to hear from you. So share your thoughts in the comments.